But some friends of mine went to see him recently. Apparently they had a chat with him and he admired one of them, one of their trainers. Not one of their trainers, but one of theirs, of the two of them, admired both his trainers.
Richard O'Sutherland.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's good. What's up, YouTube? Hello, it's me. So I'm back, and this is part 2 of the latest Stewart Lee reaction video on the internet, or whatever I called the first one. But I've run into a bit of a snag, because obviously it being the latest implies, really, when I thought about it, that there'll never be another reaction video to Stewart Lee on the internet ever. And seeing as that was part 1, that's going to cause me a few problems. I did think of changing the name of each new one I do to the latest, but the original's got a few views now. It's doing quite well, so that's going to sort of muck me up. So I've sort of created a rod for my own back, really. So I just have to call this the second latest, which it won't be, it'll be the latest, but otherwise people will get confused. Anyway, thank you, thanks for watching. Hope you haven't turned off already after that waste of time there, me talking about the titling. I'm talking about it more now, I'm wasting even more time. Anyway, so let's crack on. Thank you if you've subscribed. I am closing on 900 subscribers. It means an enormous lot to me, a huge lot, a big load, a massive load of things it means to me. So thank you if you have subscribed recently, and do like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, leave comment below, and all that lovely stuff. And let's dive in to Stewart Lee, basically live at the Lowry 2024 full episode epic comedy. Very long title by AiTechGpt there, but you know, thanks, and you've got a brilliant channel. So let's literally dive in.
So if you've seen me before, and I hope you have, as I said, you'll know, I don't really know what to do with this show. You know, normally I would take whatever the political through line is. I couldn't work out what that was because everything's in collapse, or I might have a big prop-based show with a huge falling shark, or a landscape, you know, made out of rubbish. I couldn't really afford that this time. So I thought, what I'll do, I'm going to take stand-up back to basics, and I'm going to ask what, in essence, is stand-up comedy, right? And in essence, stand-up comedy is this, isn't it? It's one man, one microphone, one audience, pure, simple, classic. But hey, hang on, Grandad, it's the 21st century now. That definition's a bit out of date, isn't it? Because women are allowed to do comedy now. Not in Salford, by the sounds of it. They are. There's loads of them. When I started in the 80s, there were so few women doing stand-up. Companies didn't really know how to bring them on, you know, and the bloke would come out and he'd go, last week we had a bloke who could hang a massive weight off his penis, and another bloke, he could shoot a firework out of his arse, and another bloke could do an impression of Charles de Gaulle using only his testicles. They were brilliant. But this week, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a woman for you. And she's going to try and do comedy. Now, I know, I've seen her backstage, she's a very attractive girl, but will she be
That is exactly what it was like in the 70s.
funny? Probably not. But it don't matter, does it? Because you don't laugh at the mantelpiece when you're fucking someone. That's right. Turn around, look at this bloke. That's supposed to be an example of out-of-date 80s sexist comedy, sir, not the first bit you've really enjoyed. You get him, that bloke. Andrew Tate fan club member. But of course today, loads of the
What's wrong with Andrew Tate?
best stand-ups are women, so let's change that definition. Stand-up comedy, one man or woman. Yeah. One microphone, one audience, pure, simple, classic. But if you've got teenagers, or maybe you are a teenager, I hope there's some teenagers in, some younger people in tonight. I've got 10 years left on the mortgage. There's no real future in this audience. This is a sort of saga holidays theatre trip. But, yeah, if a teenager would think that was a very reactionary definition. I went to the Edinburgh Fringe last summer with my kids. I've never seen so many transgender people doing stand-up, and I remember the first transgender comedian I met, actually. It was in November 1989, backstage at the Euston Comedy Club, and it was Faye Presto, who's still is a brilliant close-up comedy magician, and Faye Presto did an amazing thing backstage that night, just for me. Faye Presto made a dove disappear in front of my eyes. But Faye Presto also made something else disappear that night, didn't she? Do you know what it was? That's right. It was my prejudices.
It's good. It's good. It's virtue
Not against
signalling.
transgender people, but against magicians. Because before I met Faye Presto, I'd always assumed all magicians were just creepy old men with suspiciously young female assistants. But after I met Faye Presto, blah, 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 rhythm of a joke. That's how jokes work. They're shit, aren't they, jokes? I hate jokes. All jokes are the same with the words changed, aren't they? You know what I mean?
It's true, it's like ABBA. It all sounds the same.
Fucking pointless. I'm not going to write any more jokes. I'm going to come out here with a blackboard with a list of topics on it. I'm going to point at one of them, and you can have a good laugh imagining what I might have said about it. So let's change that definition. Stand-up comedy, one person, one microphone, one audience, and if you're Frankie Boyle, a large team of uncredited writers. Pure, simple, classic.
That's an advert. Oh, I love adverts. They're brilliant, aren't they? They're not ruining YouTube at all. Well, they're what basically help people monetize. So that's what YouTube's built on. They're not, couldn't be ruining it, could they? But McDonald's, I might go to McDonald's actually, thinking about it now.
Prod is ready.
Or I might go to Sky Vegas. They've got some lovely onions.
So there was a definition of stand-up comedy, but as well as a definition of stand-up comedy, there's something else you need to do a show, and that's some material. You're going to need some material. And I don't mind telling you, Salford, I was struggling a bit with this one. I thought, what I'll do, I'll go in the kitchen, I'll shut my eyes, I'll spin round, and whatever the first thing I see when I open them is, I will write a hit, live at the Apollo type routine about that, right? So I went in the kitchen, opened my eyes, and the first thing I saw on the shelf was a cookbook called Veg by the TV chef Hugh Fernley Whittingstall, right? But right, I'm going to write a hit, live at the Apollo routine about that. Okay, here we go, live at the Apollo. You know, Hugh Fernley Whittingstall, he likes meat. In fact, In 1998, he actually cooked and ate a human placenta live on Channel 4, for which he was roundly criticised by the watchdog, who said he should at least have detached it from the baby first. Hey, you can follow me on Instagram. Yeah. So
woke comedies, Stewart Lee for you.
So what I'm saying is, okay, this is me now, madam. I've stopped doing that character. This is... What I'm saying is, right, if he's going to change tack about what he's writing about, or any writer, you've got to flag it up. You know, like Ian Banks, the Scottish novelist, when he wrote science fiction, like Consider Phoebus and that, he called himself Ian M. Banks. And when he wrote The Wasp Factory and The Crow Road, he called himself Ian Banks, so you knew where you were, right? It's like J.K. Rowling, okay? When J.K. Rowling writes the Harry Potter books for children, she calls herself J.K. Rowling, and she writes sentences like, tall Harry saw the frightening thing, right?
She didn't really write that.
But when
Surely.
J.K. Rowling writes thrillers for adults, she calls herself Robert Galbraith, which is a man's name. I don't know where you think this is going. But it's not fucking going anywhere near that. No, it's not worth it. No way. I've got kids. I don't want the grief, right? I know what you're thinking, madam. You're going, it is about that. It's a clever double bluff. It fucking is not about that. No way. It's not worth it. This is not about that. It's about this. Okay, so settle it down, right?
He should hand in his comedy card.
So what I'm saying is, when J.K. Rowling writes thrillers for adults, she calls herself Robert Galbraith, which is a man's name. I've said, haven't I? I've said. What part of it's not about that? You know, it's not worth it. It's all right for you, isn't it, sitting in the dark in Media City? No one comes here, right? But I mentioned this about 18 months ago. All hell broke loose. I didn't know. I'm not on the internet, you know. And for a friend of mine rang me up from Ireland. She went, "Oh, it's awful what's happened to you, isn't it?" I said, "What's happened to me?" And she said, "Oh, have you not looked?" I looked on the internet, all these people. Get him, kill him. There's a funny little old man. He lives in a Martello tower. Have you seen him? He's got a three-cornered hat on. He films himself shouting at me and puts it on. I'm not there. He puts it on the internet. Have you seen that? They put my home details on Mumsnet. On Mumsnet. They went, "That's where he lives. Get him." But what was worse, the next line underneath, someone had put, "I've walked past that house and it isn't very nice." Well, but that's why this is not about that. It's not worth it.
It isn't very
Right?
nice.
So what I'm saying is, when J.K. Rowling, it's fucking not about it. I've said stop. You do it. I'm not. They put my home details on Mumsnet. Mumsnet has gone insane. Everyone on Mumsnet has been radicalised around a single issue. If Mumsnet was an Islamic website, they'd shut it down. Because it's a load of old women that start drinking rosé at 4 in the afternoon. They think, oh, it doesn't matter. They'll never find his house. Especially if there's a branch of Carluccio's on the way. This is not about that, because it's not worth the grief, right? So get over it. So what I'm saying is, when J.K. Rowling writes thrillers for adults, she calls herself Robert Galbraith, which is a man's name. She isn't actually a man, she just identifies as a man for the purpose of writing thrillers. Which women can't do because they get too frightened while writing them. See? It wasn't what you thought. It was just a sexist joke from the 80s. You like that, didn't you, sir? That was your favourite bit. Second bit for you. Loved it. It's going, oh, now it's picking up. Women writing thrillers. What the fucking hell's that about, eh? So what I'm saying is, right, J.K. Rowling, is he still talking about that? Yes! This is a short bit by my standards. In the second half, there's a routine, it's half an hour long, there's no jokes, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's the best bit. So what I'm saying is, right, J.K. Rowling doesn't become a man when she writes her books for adults. She doesn't sit there in the morning with all women's genitals all over her. Writing Harry Potter books for children, you know, writing about a moth that had a hat on and was in charge of a library, or a dish that was ashamed of its memories. Have you read them, Madam? You're like a Harry Potter fan. Have you read the Harry Potter books? Yeah? Would you read that, Harry Potter and the dish that was ashamed of its memories? You wouldn't read that. Wouldn't you be? You wouldn't read that one. Wouldn't you be curious about to see? Because it's a tragic idea, isn't it? Because it's ashamed, the dish, of its memories, isn't it? But can it tell anyone about it? No, because it's a dish, so it will never have closure. It's a terrible. Would you read that? Are you the sort of person that thinks they're quite well written, actually, the books? Because they're not. So then. They're for children. Then she doesn't pop up to Hanover Street, Edinburgh at lunchtime, have gender reassignment surgery, and go back in the afternoon with all men's genitals on her, and write about things men are interested in, you know, like batteries or the Bay of Pigs massacre. It's what you like, isn't it? Then she just rings up her agent. She goes, "Hello, Jeff, I'm a man now." And he goes, "Oh, good." And then when when her husband comes in at night and she's still working, he doesn't go, "Oh, God, what is she now?" And he knows that she's a woman and she's writing Harry Potter books if she's writing about a ferret that had a motorbike. Or a cup that was an ombudsman. Would you read that, Madam? Harry Potter and the cup that was... You'd read it, wouldn't you, sir? Yes. No? Leave her alone? Okay, fine. The thing about audience interaction, you have to know when to just walk away. Leave her alone. Okay, fine. It's a bit of fun, fuck's sake. You don't mind, do you? Would you read that? An ombudsman. It's an ombudsman. The cup. How would it arbitrate a dispute? No one knows. That's all I was going to say. It's a reasonable question. She's what? She's what? Punch her? Who? Me? I'm not going to punch anyone. You'll punch me. What, for asking what a dish would be like if it was an ombudsman? Fucking overreaction. What would you do if I asked you what a fork would be like if it was a gynaecologist? If you're going to get into this, what would you do if you'd punched me? If I said, what would you do if a dish was an ombudsman? What would you do to me if I said that a lemon squeezer was a chartered accountant? What would you do there? I think you've got out of your depth, sir. So, then...
I can't think of a better place to stop, or indeed any place to stop, but it has to come to an end because this is part 2, and if I just keep going on and on, there won't be a part 3, which would be silly. So thank you. I do. It's hard. It's very hard reacting to things while knowing that potentially thousands of people are watching you while you're doing it, and I do drift off sometimes and consider what I might say at the end of the video, but that didn't happen this time, which means that I haven't really got anything to say, because I mean I've moved myself up a bit because I'm a little bit near to the bottom of the screen. I'm just finding ways to distract myself now because I literally have nothing to say. I've watched so much Stewart Lee that I'm a bit bored of it. It's you know, it's not. It is good, I suppose, but terrible inspiratory wheeze I've got. I've got emphysema, so again, I'm trying to distract myself or distract you from wondering why I'm not commenting on Stewart Lee. But some friends of mine went to see him recently. Apparently they had a chat with him and he admired one of them, one of their trainers. Not one of their trainers, but one of theirs, of the two of them, admired both his trainers and his t-shirt, I think, and apparently helped him, worked him out, worked him over. He explained to him how to time a guitar, which I guess you can just use an egg timer, wouldn't you? Stupid. Yeah, I mean, Stewart Lee, he's good. Good to see him doing some material there. And anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, leave a comment below. I mean, you could subscribe to my Patreon page, but I haven't got one, so there's not much point doing that yet. If I ever do have one in the future, then do it. But as of now, there is no Patreon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to support my channel, and see you soon. Don't really go nowhere.